Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being present in this third Green Heritage Community of Practice webinar. My name is Fran Gracia, and I'm in charge of the European project at Casa Árabe in Madrid. We are partners of this Green Heritage project. It is a Creative Europe project led by the Institute of Archaeology in Belgrade, bringing together partners from different Euro-Mediterranean countries. And among other activities, Casa Árabe is coordinating the implementation of this community of practice, which brings together experts and practitioners working on and interested in the connections between cultural heritage and sustainability. For those not familiar yet with the project, my colleague Basma, she will share the link of the Green Heritage website in the chat, where you can learn more about the activities and first results. And you can, of course, also follow us on social media to stay updated on future activities and project developments. So today's session is slightly different from our previous webinars, as we will focus on two of the key outputs developed so far in Green Heritage, under the leadership of the University of Primorska. So, which is the Green Heritage Pedagogical Framework and the online repository of educational materials. Green Heritage Project explores how cultural and natural heritage can become a powerful space for sustainability education, creativity, participation, and environmental awareness, especially for younger generations. So today we will take a closer look at the methodology and educational resources developed during this very interesting process. So now it's my pleasure to introduce today's speakers, which are partners of the project. The three of them have very impressive backgrounds and a very extensive experience. So I will just briefly introduce them. So Zrinka, Irena, and Jelena, please feel free to add anything else you would like to share. So first, we will hear today Zrinka Mileusnić, Associate Professor at the Faculty of Humanities of the University Primorska in Slovenia, and she's a very active member of the UNESCO chair in this university. Her expertise lies in medieval and post-medieval archaeology, with a strong focus on the archaeology and historiography of the Balkans and the Adriatic region. Today she will present the Green Heritage Pedagogical Framework and all the collaborative process behind its development. After that, we will be joined by Irena, Lazar, and Jelena Anđelković, who will present the project online repository of educational materials. So Irena Lazar, she's archaeologist, UNESCO chair holder, and full professor at the University of Primorska, with very extensive expertise in Roma archaeology, cultural heritage, heritage management, and European project coordination. Jelena Anđelković, she's Senior Research Associate at the Institute of Archaeology in Serbia, and her work focuses on late antique and Byzantine visual culture, heritage communication, and digital approaches to archaeology and public engagement. So a big thank you and for the outstanding work you always contribute in the project. And I didn't mention that Jelena, she's also the project coordinator, this Green Heritage project. So before we begin, just as always, practical notes. The session will be recorded, is being recorded, and the videos will be made available afterwards through the Green Heritage Project channels. Please keep the microphones muted during the presentations and feel free to leave your questions in the chat. We will have time for discussion and Q&A session at the end of the presentation. And, I will now hand the floor over Jelena. and then we will start with the presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you all again for joining us today, and I really hope you enjoyed the sessions, and let's discuss later.
Thank you, Fran, for this announcement, and thanks Casa Arabe for hosting Green Heritage Community of Practice webinars. This is already the third one, and we are very happy that we have this opportunity to share what we did and what is done throughout the project so far. I would like to thank all the participants for joining us, and particularly to thank those who contributed with evaluation of the framework and evaluation of the programs, specifically teachers who contributed drafting and giving us nice ideas, because the idea of the framework was not only to do one side framework, pedagogical framework, Green Heritage, but also to do it in co-creation with teachers and educators. And that is why on our, which is online on our Green Heritage website, you will find first section if you go view the document, the framework will appear. And the author of the framework is Zrinka Mileusnić, and she will present the framework. While on the other hand, we collected very valuable repository of educational materials, and repositories right below. And when you click, it will open variety of the things that are conducted throughout the project. What is important to say that majority of our work packages are intervening, meaning that work package 4, for example, that served to capacity building of the consortium, teach us a lot among each of us and our experiences. While within the work package 5, we had an opportunity to co-design and then test throughout pilot programs everything that is drafted as an idea, as a program, educational program. And that is how we also did even this online repository in co-creation with our stakeholders, with teachers, with professors, with experts. But what is most important for us, with our target group, which is Generation Alpha, kids in the age between 13 and 18. So we really hope that we tackle their interest, and we hope that you will find valuable materials that we developed, and that you will have an opportunity to test that and share the knowledge we collected for you. And we hope, because the point of this community of practice is collaborate and continue research, continue programs, so that we will work together in maybe some future project applications. And that is why this is all about. So now I'm giving a floor to our dear colleague Zrinka Mileusnić, the author of the framework, and she will give a presentation, very brief presentation of the framework, and we advise you to go and see it online. Thank you, Zrinka.
Thank you, Jelena. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I will take you through this Green Heritage Pedagogical Framework, but I have chosen a way that might be a little bit more practical and usable, not just a lecture about the theory, but maybe a set of ideas that you can bring into different environments, such as classrooms, museums, maybe site visits, programs, and even different community activities. So I would like to emphasize again what Jelena has said. We worked on, we used co-creation and a participatory approach on different levels. We collaborated in collecting literature together, and then I drafted the first version. Then we consulted teachers who gave us new ideas, and then together we continued in collaborating and writing this pedagogical framework. And then at the end, we also consulted through questionnaires young visitors at all sites and included everything they said in our pedagogical framework, which then, just to have a picture of how it grows, became around 150 pages long document, and we have started with like around 30 pages of a document. So if you have any comments or additions, you are free to add whatever you would like. It will be very helpful for us also to develop this document on. But if we go to this document, at its heart, it starts from something very, very simple. And this is heritage, both cultural and natural. And it's not just about the past. So it is one of the best entry points we have for helping young people understand the world they live in, and also for helping them practice how to care for this world. So that is why the framework integrates three things that are usually treated separately. One is heritage, the other one is environment, and the other one, not yet, Jelena, and the other one is sustainable development. So I would like to underline now, and then we will go on. We are not, with this document, we are not proposing a new course, a new subject called Green Heritage. We are just proposing a basis for learning. So it's a way to connect what is already in curricula in all of our countries and already in youth learning environments with real places, real questions, real communities, and real futures. So now we can go on to the first nice picture, which was done by Jelena, and I will talk you through this. So when we say sustainable futures, it can sound very abstract. So our framework insists on something concrete. It insists that education is not only the transfer of knowledge, it is also the shaping of values and also development of different skills for navigating complexity of this world we live in. So if we accept that, then heritage becomes very powerful because it is already very complex. So how do we see that? It contains different layers, different histories, different memories, different uses of space, different relationships between humans and nature in the past, throughout the past. So now we can move on to the next slide. Jelena? Yes. So this basic idea leads us to the second key idea, and this one is that sustainable development is always about balance. It is never just environmental. It is also social, economic, and at the same time, especially lately, increasingly technological. So, whenever we work with the heritage site, with the historical landscape, with a museum collection, or with some kind of intangible practice, we can always invite learners into questions like, what changes are happening here? Why? Who is benefiting from this? What is being lost? What is being protected? And what would good development in this area, in this case, look like for this place? So this shift from heritage as something which we can admire to heritage as something to interpret and negotiate is exactly the point where we see learning that becomes meaningful. Because in the real life, heritage is rarely calm and neutral. Usually, many times, not usually, but many times it's contested. It can be very vulnerable. We can forget it, we can ignore it, we can destroy it. And it often sits right at the intersection of different areas, such as tourism, urban planning, climate change, biodiversity change, and community identity. So all of this has an impact on sustainable development and on heritage. So we can go to the next slide. So we have this nice thought, which I'm going to read to you also. So this sentence, which the framework introduces, is worth repeating. Heritage is not treated as a static monument. It's treated as a living component that can contribute to quality of life and to sustainable local development. So this sentence changes everything because it changes our teaching goals. We are no longer satisfied with saying, okay, student can name a period or student can describe a monument. We want children or all learners to build relationships to the place, to the community, to environment, and at the same time to responsibility. So now we can go to the next slide. Okay. Now, if we want that kind of learning to work, we have to be honest about the learners we are teaching today, looking as teachers. So our framework places special attention on the target groups of young people, especially Generation Z and Generation Alpha. Not just because we want to label and divide, but because teaching has to speak the language of the present. So our document describes both generations based on our questionnaires. And it describes Generation Z as not just digitized, but connected. And Generation Alpha as the first cohort entirely born in the 21st century, growing up in digital and online world as something normal, rather than something new as it is for Generation Z, or especially for us who are teaching these generations. So that matters for heritage education because the media environment shapes how young people access information, how they process information, and what formats feel natural to them. Many students respond strongly to visual, interactive, participatory experiences. And that doesn't mean they cannot read or think deeply or think at all. It means that their entry point is different than ours. It means their attention is triggered by discovery, by challenge, by collaboration, by the story, and the ability to create something. We can move to the next slide. Okay, so this point, when we realize this, is where the framework is very balanced. It never says everything must be digital. What our framework says is that digital tools can be excellent bridge if we use them with the purpose. So digital storytelling, simple 3D models, simulations, location-based activities, and serious games, these are not just small elements which are unimportant. They can really help students understand the processes that are otherwise difficult to see. For example, how a landscape changes over centuries, how a building used to be constructed, how materials behave through time or in different environments, or how tourism pressure impacts a site, or even how environmental risks affect different kinds of heritage. So at the same time, our framework recognizes a very real issue. It's the generational gap in education. Many of us educators feel like we are constantly catching up. The classic phrase is digital immigrants teaching digital natives. So it's very simplified metaphor, but it does capture the truth. Educational systems and traditional teaching methods often change slowly, more slowly than the world that these young people, young learners live in. So here is the point that our framework brings up. This is not about blaming teachers. It is not about assuming our students automatically have critical digital skills. It's kind of invitation to build a bridge. So the teachers bring the structure, interpretation, ethics, and learning design, and the students bring familiarity with tools, with the speed, and creative confidence. So if we combine these two, we can create learning that is serious but also engaging. So we can go to the next slide. So now I would like just to emphasize something hopeful. Our framework highlights that these young generations, Z and Alpha, are strongly connected by social and global awareness. This is based on the questionnaires we did and analyzed. So we found out Generation Z often expresses self-transcendence values, such as concern for collective interests, like protecting the environment, unity with nature, for example. And then Generation Alpha shows even higher environmental awareness, as well as mental health awareness. So if we think about it, this is a great opportunity for heritage education. It means young people already carry concerns that connect directly to what heritage and sustainability education can offer in the future. This is care, identity, belonging, fairness, well-being, and above all, long-term thinking. So the framework doesn't start by saying heritage is important, so you should care. It starts by saying learners already care about many of the things heritage is connected to. So now our job is to create the experiences that help them connect those concerns to places, histories, environments, and different decisions. So we can go on now, Jelena. So at this point, we are going to get a little bit more serious. So this is the point where our pedagogical framework introduces the idea of a regenerative approach. So regenerative is a word we often hear in design and environmental work, but here we are using it in an educational way. We are not trying to reduce harm. We want young people to learn how to restore, how to renew, how to strengthen systems, both natural, cultural, and also social, while respecting fragility and also authenticity. So in practice, this approach is presented through three very teachable components. First one is documentation and schematic thinking. So this is about observation. We want to train people to look closely, to record, to map, to draw, to learn how to measure, to notice patterns and materials. So it's the kind of thinking that supports problem solving and at the same time also creativity. The second includes simulations and digital exploration. So this is where digital tools help. They allow students to test the cases called what if questions. So they can explore different options and see what consequences would happen without causing damage in the real world. And then we have the third approach, which is multi-criteria thinking, and this is very important. Heritage decisions, as we know, are never just technical. So they involve different aspects, such as ecological, social, cultural, and also economical. So our students learn how to weigh options, how to recognize different things, and how to argue and in a responsible way, not just to respond, I like it, but here is why this option is better, and here is the cost of our option. So we want them to be completely aware when they think about heritage and when they act with it. Now we can go on to the next slide. Okay, so from these basic ideas, the framework can be divided into 3 pillars. And I like these 3 different pillars. They're easy to remember, but they can also guide you to real planning, how to implement this pedagogical framework. So the first pillar is a science-action connection. Learning begins with inquiry, but it doesn't stop there. Students move through action. They try different solutions, they create outputs and test ideas, and then they reflect on what happened. So it's not just activity just to do something, it's a cycle that has a meaning. The second pillar is community orientation. So heritage is always local in some way, and sustainability is always local in a way as well. So the framework encourages partnership. The museums, the site managers, local authorities, different organizations, groups, craftsmen, and also at the basic level, families. So it's a shift from school as an island in this world to school as a part of a learning ecosystem. And then we have the third pillar, which is value-oriented learning. So this is where our pedagogical framework says heritage education is not value neutral. It includes responsibility, care, respect, and also intergenerational solidarity. If we want young people to protect heritage and nature, we have to create spaces where values are discussed, not just taught, preached, but also explored through real cases and real dilemmas and also through real communication. Okay, we can go on. So when we translate these pillars into competence domains, they even may become even clearer. So basically, we are answering here, what do we want our children, our learners, to be able to do? So we have three levels, 3 different groups of our teaching goals. The first one is cultural awareness and expression. This includes understanding tangible and intangible heritage, but also being able to express this. So to express this understanding through interpretation, through storytelling, creative work, exhibitions, digital narratives, and communication that is meaningful for different audiences. So We learn also how to adapt. The second domain is sustainability thinking. So that's systems thinking, critical thinking, and ethical thinking, understanding interactions between society, culture, technology, and environment, and being able to reason about responsibility and the long-term impact. And then we have the third domain, which is agency and action. So this answers so what domain. It's about giving learners the skills and also, very important, the confidence to participate, to plan projects, to collaborate, to speak to stakeholders, and also to propose solutions and to reflect on outcomes. So we can move from these competences on. So now we come to the practical questions. How do we actually teach this way that teachers and educators can implement? How do we do this? So in our pedagogical framework, we offered a set of different approaches that you can combine. You can think about them as ingredients you can mix depending on your context, on what you have available. One ingredient is art-based learning. This is not just a nice decoration. Art is often the most direct way to interpretation, to empathy, to communication, because heritage is not just cognitive, it's very emotional and it's also very relational, especially when we bring values into this. So art-based approaches can include drawing, photos, creative writing, designing, exhibition making, but also many other things. Another ingredient is field-based and outdoor learning. So heritage is place-based, so the site itself becomes a learning environment. We can observe, walk, map, document, make interviews, notice the relationship between nature and human traces. So this is where the learning becomes very real. The third ingredient is project-based or problem-based learning. The framework, our pedagogical framework, suggests a simple structure. So we gave you some kind of formulas. So projects can stay focused. There is introduction, investigation, and core activities, reporting, and also assessment. So that structure is very basic, but we hope it will help teachers manage time and also help students understand what quality in teaching looks like. So then we also have digital technologies. Again, we try to use them with purpose. So there is digital storytelling, simple 3D models, simulations, documentation applications, and maybe augmented reality in some contexts. Whatever makes sense in your heritage and in your environment. So the goal is to increase understanding, to support interpretation, and to communicate results. So finally, we have element of gamification and serious games. Very powerful for sustainability because they allow students, what I have mentioned before, to practice decision making in very complex scenarios. They can role play stakeholders, they can navigate trade-offs, they can see the consequences, and then they can reflect on what happened and why it happened. So if I can offer one practical design principle that tends to work in real schools, start with one strong anchor experience. Often this is a field-based activity or a real local question, and then add one creative and one digital layer. So this combination is usually enough to create very good holistic learning experience, good for all different kinds of learners without overwhelming teachers or learners. So we can now move to the next slide. So now when we start teaching this way, we somehow naturally face the question, how do we evaluate our teaching? How do we know it's not just enjoyable, it's not just fun, but it's meaningful teaching and learning? So we also have thought about this in our pedagogical framework, and we have sustainability indicators that are quite useful, hopefully very useful. We have proposed thinking across environmental, cultural, and social indicators. And the best part is that indicators aren't only for policy people. They're a learning tool also for the learners, for the students. So they can ask, what evidence do we have that something improved? Which indicators conflict? What matters most to local stakeholders? What are we willing to trade off and why? So this kind of evaluation also teaches argumentation, evidence-based reasoning, and above all, responsibility, all within heritage and sustainability contexts. So now we can go to the last slide. Finally, to make feel everything doable, we have included different suggestions in our pedagogical framework, so different types of activities, not as a checklist, we start here and then we do something else, but more as a menu where you can choose something that we propose just to see how it works. So you can build some kind of thematic units that connect different subjects. You can do story mapping. You can link different narratives and places and observations. You can design action project with different partners. You can create small digital archives curated by students. Whatever is available, whatever feels doable. You can do role plays. You can do simulations to explore conflict and negotiation. And you can use also different kinds of artistic interventions for interpretation. Or game-based learning to practice decision making. So the important message here is that these formats that we propose within pedagogical framework are modular. You don't have to do everything. You can start small and still stay within framework's pillars and competence domains. So at the end, if I want to summarize the spirit of our pedagogical framework, our pedagogical framework is more of an invitation to teach heritage as something live, as something that helps young people learn how to understand systems, how to care for places, how to work with others and imagine sustainable futures. It respects the realities of today's young generations, and it also supports teachers with a clear structure and already made ideas. But it keeps the focus on the long-term values, skills, and responsible participation. So with this, all of your comments are welcome, and I'm very happy to hand over to the next part of the webinar, where we will move to the repository, where you can actually access different educational materials and then use them to apply maybe to some of the structures that we offer in Pedagogical Framework. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zrinka, so much for this nice presentation, and completely in line with the idea of spreading the results of our framework. And just to mention that the illustrations are done by our partner, Academia Politehnica. And yes, we are now going to Green Heritage Online Repository of Educational Materials. Please, all of you, as Zrinka said, you can comment or you can pose questions in our chat, or you can wait until the end if you want to discuss something more. And I would like to present you now Irena Lazar, professor at University of Primorska and head of UNESCO chair. And she will explain also in short how was our journey through collecting these educational materials, which is very much relying on the things done for the framework. Thank you, Irena.
Thank you, Jelena. Good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for joining us on this webinar and where we can present our work on our work package 3 in the framework of Green Heritage. This presentation, comparing to the previous one, will be probably a very technical one, but I do hope that it will also be a practical one, as Zrinka already said, so you can find perhaps on this repository something useful for your work, because this repository is complementary to Green Heritage Pedagogical Framework and represents different educational and training resources that we have as and all partners collected and used during the preparation. So the repository is organized as a centralized platform to store and provide an access to all the necessary material for effective teaching, training, and so on. Of course, again, focusing on the group of Generation Alpha. As you will see, if you go to the website, the Green Heritage Online Repository is divided in 2 sections. One are external educational materials with national and international practices that we have consulted during our work, which means tools, handbooks, etc., etc. And the other group is Green Heritage educational material, showcasing the variety of the Green Heritage developed practices, actions, workshops, and tools. Next slide, Jelena, please. You can see here on this picture now very clearly how this repository is organized. You have in green color our Green Heritage educational materials that are in a kind of result of our work within this project. And on the other side, external materials, where of course we have collected and presented everything or most of the material that we have consulted. These are numerous national and international website platforms, guidelines, handbooks, and policies, projects, and all that help us to form and design new educational resources. Of course, also a large number of monographs, studies, and scientific articles have been consulted. They were included in the bibliography of the Green Heritage Pedagogical Framework. And of course, these were also used for us as an inspiration and a scientific basis when selecting and creating these Green Heritage educational materials. We can move on, Jelena. So this is a picture how this website platform, this repository view is looking. You see that in one side you have the name of the website, of the platform, then you have the title, then you have, of course, which is important, a short description. I hope that this will be valuable for you if perhaps you will be looking or searching for something more specific. And then you have a link of that is, of course, important and useful for your further research, investigation, and so on and so on. We can move on, Jelena. A lot of different handbooks was already collected and is presented in this website within the group of external educational materials. And if I may add, of course, us as being the UNESCO Chair for Heritage Education and Interpretation for enhancing integrated heritage approaches, we had a long-lasting experience with numerous international projects where, of course, we were already, in a way, exploring how heritage is presented or not presented in school curricula and so on. We have organized also numerous seminars for our teachers where we have realized that the main problems why teachers sometimes have problems to decide to include more heritage in their teaching regarding of the teaching topic. They think they do not know enough about heritage, that their competencies about heritage are not good enough, are not well enough. And that is why it is so important to offer to the teachers the possibilities to explore different guidelines, handbooks, and so on that can help them. And on the other side, of course, this is what we as a university and as a UNESCO chair are doing, to organize seminars and meetings with teachers, to organize questionnaires, to get as much knowledge about their experiences, their thinking and their opinion regarding teaching of heritage. Next slide, please, Jelena. So the view of the guidelines and handbooks. These materials, of course, are collected on the basis of our national repositories or national projects of all the partners that are involved in the project, as well as some practices and examples, of course, that are coming also from several other countries. Next slide, please. Yes, the last part in these external educational materials are projects and initiatives. Next slide, please. And here, again, the same overview of these initiatives that you can find on the website. This to my opinion, this material is really extensive and very varied, and I do hope that if you will go through that, if you will immerse in these materials, I'm sure you can find a lot of good examples for the use within the museum practice, archaeological sites, and so on and so on. And this was our main idea, to help with all the materials that we have collected, people, guides, teachers, pedagogical groups that may have some help or better start for their work with heritage. Next slide, Jelena. The Second, the so are Green Heritage educational materials. In the frame of our projects and on the basis of a pedagogical framework and on the basis of our research of these external educational materials, we have, of course, formed different practices, actions, workshops, and so on within the Green Heritage project. And a selection of this, which was already in a way implemented, presented, and will also be further implemented within the project, we are sharing with you part of these workshops, tools, and practices that we have prepared and organized within the project. Next slide, please, Jelena. We have here a presentation of different workshops and practices with a lot of pictures. And what are these pictures showing? They are showing the variety of partners, the variety of the size when we are working on. These are sites of national importance. These are UNESCO sites. And of course, also we as partners can be managers of the site, we can be involved in the activity of the site, we can work on the field of education and so on. So all these approaches are in a way reflected in the diversity of these materials and actions that are presented here for you on our platform. Jelena, perhaps we can go through the pictures and perhaps some comments or individual comments for
Yes, I agree. In order not to keep too much time, because we need to leave some time for comments and
questions. Yes.
So here you can see in each of archaeological site and in selected heritage site what is done. The point, Irena, is that to mention is that this is done under the umbrella of Work Package 5, relying on the Green Heritage framework, that we use capacities of also our own experiences, and then adapted that for variety of actions within Green Heritage as well. And this is like a combination of ecological practices, sustainability, participative methodology, and here you can see the variety of things that are done. Irena, you can comment also if you want.
But yes, of course, I will. If you go on, perhaps I also wanted to edit, of course, that we are working on the site with, of course, from different starting point or different point of view, and also that we have archaeological heritage of different projects. Very important, of course, here is also that we are thinking about the community involvement. This is something that we have all learned through the years of work on our sites, and also during the work on these sites we can see a development of these sites and approach. For us, for instance, showing now this picture, it is also important that our students who are studying archaeology, cultural heritage, and so on have a possibility to be involved in this work at the site, to be part of this workshop that we are preparing, to be part of the research of different topics and so on. And this is, of course, very, very valuable. And also absolutely stakeholder engagement. This is sometimes not so simple, can be difficult, but when you build a network, when you build a community and around your site and everything, things are starting to evolve, to grow, and so on. And I'm sure that many of you who are also working on your side have the same experience at the beginning of frustration that things are not going fast enough, that things are not developing fast enough. But then somehow the mosaic is built and you can grow, you can develop, and you can show the results, which are, of course, have been developed through the years. Nothing can be reached and achieved in a short period of time. This is something that we are all aware of. And of course, also that teaching children is not only teaching children, is also teaching their families, is also having in mind a lot also people with disabilities and so on and so on. So now I give the word to Jelena for the conclusion. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Irena, for this brief presentation. Also, the work done was huge, but we need to sum up this for the webinar. But for if you want to have a clear insight in what is done, you can go to the website, and each of these activities that is very shortly here presented is elaborated step by step, including in the end, like what you need in order to conduct that at your site, what is the number of participants that can be done effectively, how many hours you need and what resources you need to take, and etc., etc. And of course, all of these are adaptable, so it's up to you. And I think that it is very important that everything is online and you can visit that anytime. And finally, I would like to remind each of you to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We are also on LinkedIn. You can follow us on YouTube. And of course, all news are also on our website. And finally, before leaving the floor to Fran and hearing your questions and comments, one more time, big thanks to all professors, teachers, and educators who helped us draft this, who take actions in evaluating, commenting during the co-creation phase. Thank you for contributing our programs. We learned a lot from you. And finally, I would like to say big thank to our dear advisory board member, Atta, professor from Liverpool School of Architecture, Liverpool University. We had a lovely day of Green Heritage, the full day program within the umbrella of Community of Practice with her students, but also with experts from University of Padua and from United States. Thanks to our Emilia, she organized all the program. Thanks to all my colleagues who helped drafting everything. And I think that we started, let's say, these national workshops within Green Heritage Community of Practice, and we can't wait to hear evaluation of these programs from the students. And we are so happy, Atta. I don't know if she's still with us. She said that she has to go earlier.
Yes, she's here.
Yes, yeah. I am still here. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. Honestly, it was like an amazing week and I couldn't thank you enough. You know, every one of you, Elena, Emilia, who connected everyone together, and Luba, despite the fact that he spoiled the students, but this was okay. But I think, you know, the implementation of the Green Heritage Framework and the strategies were really great, you know, including the field work, including the role play, including, you know, within Elena lecture was really great and something new for us. Yes, we have digital heritage, we do field work, but this was really, really very innovative. I know that I think we have 1 or 2 students with us. We are in the middle of the exams period and assignments and everything else. But I think the week was very fruitful. It was very busy, but really thank you so much, everyone. and I will be happy to share a full report, full feedback from the students. Already shared a selective, some photos, but just to quickly selected them. I have more, so we'll share more with you very, very soon.
Thank you, Atta. We are hoping that in such a way we will start to build our blog on our website, where we will keep on posting these impressions about Green Heritage. I would like also to say thank during the preparation of everything we presented. Special thanks to Roxana, Maria, Stefan as well. I think that I'm really proud that the whole team and the whole consortium worked very, very enthusiastic on this. And I'm glad, Atta, that you recognized our feelings in this approach. And the students went happy to England, and you're welcome back again in
Yes,
Serbia.
definitely. Yes, I know that honestly some students, asked me why don't we develop a placement opportunities, and I am sure that there are several opportunities we could collaborate on, including the intangible cultural heritage projects I am working on at the moment, and climate change as well, but also more importantly the educational strategy, because it's innovative, it's really needed, particularly within the current education climate, because we had in the news a couple of days ago that we have in the UK, and surprisingly many young people without education, or they don't go to straightforward to find job opportunities. So maybe working also on creating some craft skills via that type of education. There are many possibilities. Definitely we will be back.
Super. I'm glad that we all already see that the framework and our repository can be applied somewhere, and then that is nice news. So Fran, since you're a very good lead in raising this question and answer session, I will leave this to you. And
so the session is open. So if any of you, if you have any questions, something to share, maybe from people not from the consortium, no? Because it would be very interesting to see what do you think, if you are a professor working with young people, young generation. So feel free to comment, and it's time for the Q&A. No one.
I'm just reading the comments because I couldn't I couldn't read.
Can I apologize and leave now, because I have to be physically somewhere else?
Okay.
So I need to leave now, but thank you so much. And hopefully we'll see, the majority of you in person at some point, but definitely we are back.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye now. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
And I would like to apologize to Zrinka because I skipped some and make a mess with some slides, but I hope that in the end I was correct in following the story.
It was a good group work. I noticed you are trying to make me go faster, but I would like to thank everyone saying in the comments that we did a good job. We are very proud of you looking at our framework before the webinar. And we really hope it's going to be useful and live. And if you have any good experiences, you can share them with Archaeological Institute or our other partners, so we can have ideas how you develop this further.
And if you have any other question or something to ask to the consortium, you have our contact, so we will be at your disposal to answer by email, or to organize a meeting, to develop further points, or some special points regarding to the framework, or other themes related to the project. So no questions. So maybe we will close this third webinar. So as you know, it will be recorded, and available on the Green Heritage website. Thank you again, Irena, Zrinka, and Jelena for your amazing job. And see you next month with the fourth webinar of the Community of Practice. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for joining us.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.